Hello, my name is HAPruitt. I'm the author of Anelthalien and the second book in the Anelthalien series, Earth Quaking. And in this video, I am going to read to you out of Earth Quaking. I'm going to read you the first chapter. So, like in the first book, the first chapter has a lot to do with everything else that happens in the book, but it's something different than the rest of the book. And so, there's no spoilers for the first book in this first chapter of the second book. So if you haven't read the first book, you can still listen to this video without having any spoilers at all. And there's no spoilers for the rest of the book. It connects in more of a figurative way, kind of a thematic way. It doesn't reveal anything that's going to spoil the book for you. So the first chapter, I haven't cracked my spine of this one. It was the first one I bought of mine, and I've just been using my author copy for everything I need it for. So you guys are gonna get to like break the cover with me. Oh, listen. Oh, there it is. I would like to smooth the cover down. You guys probably hate me for that. Okay, and it has a little carriage in the dark with a lantern. Deviation. Carmen shuddered as she drew in a deep breath. The air should have been warm. She was too far north for it not to be full of heat and water. As she traveled, though, the wind that blew past her deeply chilled her. Its biting edge was so icy that it shook her to a halt. In her frozen state, she considered her path. Her destination was not far, and her deed would take seconds. The bitter wind, though, pushed her to consider a different route to anywhere else. She tried to push away the glorious alleviation she knew turning back would grant her, but it grew into such a desirable option she couldn't ignore it. Until that moment, Carmen had known exactly where to go, but now her decisiveness crumbled. The wind cut deeper into her, and she gathered her whole entity to move from her paralysis and step in a new direction. After only a few slow footfalls, the wind died, and Carmen dove into her new course. As she rushed along, she kept all her senses heightened, searching for any irregular feeling, sight, sound, or smell. Much sooner than she had expected, something reached her keen perception, and she slowed. Not far ahead, a familiar carriage, was bumping along through the dark night. She watched it, trying to fathom the reason for its journey here through such a tense, terrible night. As no explanation entered her mind, a betrayed feeling slowly crept over her. In another second, Carmen burst inside the carriage and collected herself to face the woman occupying it. "Carmen," Blenda gasped with a steadying hand on her chest. Once their eyes met and they exchanged slight, cordial smiles, Carmen suddenly regretted her split decision and stared out the window. An eerie glow bounced off the ground as the lantern light from outside passed over it. The lantern wasn't visible from the small window, so the lonely light and everything it brushed seemed ghostly. Not even the moon illuminated the night. Every luminary in the sky was blocked by the thick clouds hanging overhead. Carmen frowned as her eyes turned up to the thick cumulus towers. She couldn't feel them or the rain she knew to be turning in them. She shuddered, remembering the cold air that had frozen her not long ago, and turned her gaze down again. The soft, swift sound of the wheels turning was the only noise, and Carmen was content to throw all her attention on its repetitive lull. She closed her eyes and tried to forget everything, the natural world sweeping by so closely yet so distantly, her earlier intention, and the weight on her heart. The meditative sound and constant rocking of the carriage had almost stolen her consciousness when Blenda broke the silence. "Carmen, what are you doing here?" Blenda slowly inquired. Carmen kept her focus on the darkness behind her eyelids. She did not intend to answer. It's terribly late for a carriage ride," Carmen interrupted, and out of the corner of her now fully open eye she saw the queen swallow. Blenda pursed her lips as she bowed her head, but then shook away her tacit yet apparent discomfort and gazed at Carmen. "I thought you were at the castle, as I believed you to be," Carmen immediately responded and shot a sidelong look at her queen. "Carmen," Blenda coldly reprimanded as she wrinkled her forehead. No, excuse me, you are right. It is quite late. I couldn't sleep. I thought some air might clear my head." When she spoke her last sentence, Carmen sharply turned her head and eyed Blenda, trying to determine if she was suggesting more than what she said. They locked stares, and Carmen saw nothing insidious in her light blue eyes. Feeling guilty for her suspicion, Carmen dropped her gaze. "What's wrong?" Blenda softly asked. "Is it tomorrow?" Carmen closed her eyes in an attempt to shut out her disquiet. She regretted her deviation from her original course even more now, and desperately wanted to flow out of the carriage and back into the night. Her chance to end it all had been so close, and she knew if she would only lose herself in the sky again, perhaps... Carmen, you're not yourself. Is everything all right? Has something changed? No. She almost choked out the word. Nothing is wrong. Everything is as it has always been. When she heard the words spill out of her mouth, Carmen knew they were a dangerous lie, and guilt stung her again. Everything is as it should be. She corrected herself with a strained breath. Are you sure? Blenda sounded incredibly concerned. Because if anything has changed, you must tell me. It is not only one life depending. I know! Carmen snapped, and before Blenda responded, a calming silence filled the carriage. I need to know. The Queen very quietly but urgently commanded. Has he said anything? Does he know anything about... Carmen compulsively shook her head over and over. Finding she couldn't stop the motion or flood of speech eager to flow out of her depths, she switched her words to another subject. I think it may rain. Her voice shook as she divulged the disgusting words, but she calmed herself with the knowledge that they had covered something much worse. Blenda shifted uncomfortably but sighed. I'm sorry. You have no idea. Carmen felt her hands begin to shake. What it is like to live like this. Carmen. Breathed Blenda soothingly. You must let go of your past wrongs. You could go back. You are different now. You are doing what is right. Am I? Carmen cried, then whispered, I don't believe I know what is right anymore. And no, I will not ever go back. An impulse to act seized her, and she lifted her necklace up and over her head. Carmen, what? Blenda started to ask, but fell into wide-eyed silence as Carmen held out her hand. When the Queen made no move to take the 4 necklaces cradled in her palm, Carmen dropped them on the cushion between them. Her whole entity suddenly shocked with excruciating pain, Carmen gasped, Send us help! That is all you need to say. Almost sure of what was coming, she placed her hand on the ledge of the open window. Fighting against the ripping pain terrorizing every inch of her being, she stretched her fingers to feel for any hint of moisture in the air. The moment Carmen found it, she lost control of her form and burst into a million droplets. For a few horrifying seconds, Carmen couldn't sense where she had scattered, only the confusing air and earth hitting her from every direction. Summoning every iota of consciousness, she searched for familiarity. A few drops of her suddenly touched water, warm, flowing, and calm. She tried to will her entirety to the river, but didn't hold the power. Then a very soft, carrying wind blew her into the river's safety. The warm breeze guided all of her to the wonderful water, but despair overwhelmed Carmen. Even though she was now fully in the water, she was still painfully apart from her element, and sensed her strength subsiding and the current taking command of her direction. So that is the first chapter of Earth Quaking. Yay, I'm glad I got to read it to you guys. I really enjoy reading my book out loud and doing the voices. If you've ever heard me do Missy from the first book, you probably really enjoy it too. So that's the first chapter of Earth Quaking. If you want to buy Anelthalien or Earth Quaking, they are both available on Amazon. Anelthalien is available on, just like look it up online, and if you want to buy it from a certain place, type it in, and it's likely to be there. Doing it with a hybrid publisher, I had extensive, whatever you call that when they put it a lot of different places. My mind can't think right now. Yeah, so they put it a lot of different places. But Earth Quaking is exclusively on Amazon in paperback and Kindle forms right now. So please, if you enjoyed that, go read Anelthalien and read Earth Quaking, and enjoy the rest of the books. So thank you very much for watching. Bye! If you want to know more about Anelthalien or HAPruitt, please follow me on Instagram at HAPruitt. You can find me on Amazon as an Amazon author, HAPruitt. Please watch my YouTube channel and all my cool videos on my channel, HAPruitt Anelthalien. You can find me on the Facebook page, HAPruitt Anelthalien. You can follow me on Goodreads by the name HAPruitt and the book Anelthalien, or you can go to my website where so much cool stuff about Anelthalien is. The website is HAPruitt.com. Don't look sick. Don't look sick. having one of those days where everything I eat wants to just not be okay with me. Okay,